Check. This is West Wednesday, number 405. We are calling for justice for all victims of police violence. Mic check, mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. So thank you guys for tuning in. I'm sorry that I'm doing this via audio. It just gets really weird that every time, like last week, I got on with no problem, new phone, but now it like they got my new phone blocked completely out of everything. Didn't hit nothing, didn't do anything different. But anyway, like I said, one monkey can't stop our show. Anyway, like my brother said, we're calling for justice, not just for my big brother Tyrone West, but literally for all the victims of police brutality and murder. Sorry you guys have been waiting. We were delayed for technical issues on my end, but please stay tuned. We're going to play the video that we play every week, and then we're going to bring on my warrior brother, Mr. Jamal Johnson. So, yeah, you definitely don't want to miss this show tonight. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Can't stop, won't stop, till killer cops are in cell blocks. Can't stop.
The following newly released video portrays an incident of assault and violence at the hands of police. Viewer discretion is advised.
I suggest you back the fuck up.
No.
This is Baltimore City Police Officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz. In a newly released video shot in 2016, Ruiz is seen with his knee on the back of an unknown man with a gun pointed at the man's head. His message was a clear one. Concerned onlookers, adhere to my dictates or else. Here, we can hear Ruiz saying to Baltimore residents,
I suggest you back the fuck up. No.
It is documented that Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardes Ruiz is a repeat violent offender, even without access to all complaints against Ruiz, undisclosed by BPD Internal Affairs records. 6 cases involving Ruiz are known. This video will briefly highlight 6 total cases beginning in July of 2013. Case 1, ABDUL SALAAM, July 1st, 2013. Here SALAAM is seen victoriously smiling in celebration after the jury found Ruiz and 2 other cops liable for brutality against him. However, because the trial was civil, not criminal, Ruiz was not fired and he did not go to jail.
Police profiled me. They followed me in the back of my house, harassing me. Police proceeded to violently and hostilely approach my van with me and my son in it. As I announced, this was my home, guns drawn. Once they reached my vehicle, they violently pulled me out, ramshacked my vehicle with my 3-year-old son strapped in his car seat, threw me against the gate, slammed me repeatedly, picked me up by my feet, and while I'm upside down, they proceeded to drop me on my head, hog-tie me, and immediately when I fell on my head, Ruiz, in a wrestling type of action, and kind of hit his knee against my neck. I was arrested. I had no idea what I was being arrested for. My son is scarred to this day. He remembers the incident as it happened yesterday. When he talks about it, he always refers to Daddy being on the floor with police yesterday.
Case 2, Darrell Harris, profiled, as seen in this video, July 17th, 2013.
Yeah, I said, what's wrong with it? Improper way with it. There's no such thing as an improper way.
You gonna tell me my job, bro?
I know the law.
Are you gonna tell me the law?
I know the law.
You gonna tell me the law?
I know the law. What's the problem? You giving me a ticket? You need my license registration?
Yeah, let me get it.
Profile, y'all use the seatbelt as a reason. Profile.
Do me a favor, take out your keys.
Yeah, you can record me. For what? Nah. I don't feel safe right now. Do you want me to step out the car? Do you want me to step out the car? I'll step out the car. Call the police, man. What do you call a supervisor? I'm about to do shit. This is getting uploaded to the internet right now. Yeah.
And we are two law-abiding citizens that we are getting targeted, and I don't know why.
Just 24 hours later, Bernardez Ruiz played a leading role in the police killing of unarmed Tyrone West. Case number 3, the murder of Tyrone West, July 18th, 2013.
My brother Tyrone West was brutally murdered on July the 18th, 2013.
In both of these cases, when you look at the pleadings and the harsh language of these officers that have been quoted to me by reliable witnesses, the N-word.
And Killer Ruiz and Killer Chapman and the rest of those 11 to 15 killers, including David Lewis, took something from my family that they could never give us again. And that was my brother Tyrone West, one unarmed man who was brutally murdered, beat to death in broad daylight.
The video is now complete. Tawana, you're on.
Oh, okay. I was waiting for Ben to give me a signal. I apologize. Mic check. So again, thank you guys for tuning in. Again, like I said, I apologize for the technical difficulties on my end. I don't know what's going on, but nevertheless, I've had my brother, Jamal Johnson, and he does, he did a 140-mile Stop Killing Us march all the way from Philadelphia to the Congressional Black Caucus in D.C. And he does this every year. And literally, like, if we were out in the streets right now, he would definitely be with us. I think he came to us at least 3 times, if I got it right. And then also, I think I wanted to correct the number of West Wednesdays, because I believe my brother Ben said the number incorrectly, but this is West Wednesday week 504, week 504. And that's a very long time to be fighting for accountability or anything. But again, just to bring our brother in that has been fighting just for like everybody to stop killing us. And he not only fights for community violence, but as well as police brutality. And I just have so much love and respect for him. He was going to actually walk in and join the fight for Darrell Rochester, but unfortunately tomorrow I got the message that Miss Danielle is not doing nothing until Saturday. So, and I know in life things come up, so I'm just so sorry that he wouldn't get to meet them, and I don't know how long he's going to be, but I know when he come all the way walking, his next stop from here is like D.C., but just to commend him just for fighting, being strong, being courageous, and also he is the father of Dr. Omar Johnson. So, you know, greatness brings on greatness. So just wanted to give him a big shout out, and I will bring our brother on. The floor is all yours. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
Go ahead and turn your camera back on, Jamal.
Okay.
Mic check, are you there?
Yes.
Okay, the floor is all yours. I apologize. And thank you for joining us tonight, and just thank you for all that you do. Mic check.
Thank you. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. My name's Jamal Johnson. I'm coming through Baltimore for the 7th time on the 7th annual Stop Killing Us March to address community gun violence and police brutality. I started this in 2017 after the escalating homicides by police officers in Philadelphia and throughout the nation. And I also was addressing the issue about the gun violence, but it escalated in Philadelphia about 3 years later. And I've made that a equal issue that needs to be addressed. We're on our way to the Congressional Black Caucus because Congressional Black Caucus, as far as I'm concerned, hasn't done much about either one of these issues. The George Floyd bill continues to sit on the desk and not made law, and they have not done what they said they would do after the Tyree Nichols homicide by 5 police officers in Memphis. So we're going there to try to see if we can find out, number one, what they intend to do different, because they publicly stated they would do something different in reference to the George Floyd Act to try to get it to make it law. And we're also going to see what their strategy is, if any, concerning the unending gun violence epidemic that's plaguing our cities and our communities.
Awesome. That's just great. I'm just so glad that nothing, stops you from doing what you're doing. It's just sad that, like you said, and I'm sorry that I didn't mention that you were pushing the George Floyd Act, and for it to just be sitting there is really disgusting and heartbreaking. But I'm glad that you are active and that you do this nonstop. And then it's just so sad that every time I look on your page, I see all the homicides in Philadelphia, and it's just seeing it, pray it happen around the world, and even in my city, it's just very heartbreaking. And I just wanted to, like I said, commend you for the hard work. And also, I want our listening audience, if anything is going on tomorrow, please, tomorrow on Thursday, here in Baltimore City, whether it's a ceasefire event, anything, dealing with community violence, police brutality, please hit me up ASAP, and I will do my best to direct our brother your way. Like I said, he was going to take that long walk on Thursday to join, the fight for Darrell Rochester, which to me is horrible. You had an 18-year-old baby gunned down by the police for no reason, like murdered, and nobody is being held accountable. And that's just really sad. And I'm just not even just looking at that. It's just so much going on. And even my sister, who lives in North Carolina, who brother Timothy Fleming was gunned down in his home right here in Baltimore City. They still have not received an autopsy report. We're talking about going on 2 years. Like, it just seems like this system does whatever it wants to do, and we are supposed to just sit back and, take this crap. It's horrible, it's heartbreaking, and then I even look because it's just so much to catch up with. But one of my sisters, warrior sisters, had lost her son. And and he was murdered, I believe it was shortly after George Floyd. He was, by the officer that act like she didn't know her damn taser from her weapon, her gun, and murdered him. But for me to look on his mom's page today, it made me livid. And it seemed like ever since I clicked on her page and saw and I made my comment, this maniac, this animal that took a life, and it was so heartbreaking to see on my sister's page that she said in less than a month from now, she will be back home at her dinner table with her family, and meanwhile, this mother is mourning the loss and will never have that opportunity down here on earth to be with her son, have her baby son at a table. This is so heartbreaking on so many levels. And like I said, that's why I believe in many ways to fight this wicked system, because we can't just get it right with one way. Yes, I believe in trying to fight for reform and all that, but we need something that's going to stick to me. And it's sad because it's an easy fix. If people wanted to just hold people accountable, they can hold us accountable. When we murder each other, you know, and they catch us, and people are bold enough and brave enough to stand up and step forward and say, you know what, this has to end. I saw what I saw, and this is what happened. And if they bring that person to, you know, the courthouse and things of that nature, they prosecute them, they'll prosecute them to the fullest extent of the law. You probably will never see them again. You know, but unfortunately, it's just sad what's going on. And then I don't mean to scramble around, but it was so heartbreaking when I watched the news yesterday and I saw a 75-year-old woman that was missing since October. And literally the family described that they found the mother eyeglasses out on the front. Her keys were gone. So you knew that there was signs of something not right. You knew that there was signs that this lady didn't just walk off, this beautiful soul did not just walk out of her house, leave her eyeglasses, leave her walking cane. It looked like somebody may have snatched her out of her bedroom. And then to find her remains inside of a container is disgusting. And then to know that this is the second person body this year found in a container. Back in January, there was a man body found in a container, left on something, an abandoned porch, just left there. Like, it makes your mind think, like, do we have a serial killer here? Like, is any of this stuff related? But again, it's just sad, like, how a human life is not worth anything. And it's just so sad that in some cases, you'll get more response when an animal is murdered. And so my brother, again, like I said, I just want to thank you, and I just want your input on the situation of the things that you actually see, you know, in Philadelphia, and then you walk to different places. So what is your input on all the violence that is happening around the world?
Well, you know, I have to say that over the past 7 years, one thing that is noticeable, and I think people don't want to deal with it, is the lack of community involvement. You know, I think that if we come together, rise up together, we can get some changes. We could definitely get something done. But I think as long as we continue to be divided, or we continue not to come together on the same agenda, you know, things are going to continue to just slowly drip. And that includes, like the George Floyd bill, for example. You know, that was an uprising. It was the worldwide notification of his death. Great. But now the people who are out there, they're not out here for all these other homicides that are going on by police officers. You know, people are still being killed. I believe last year was the highest number of killings by police in this country, 2022. So it's still going on, you know, but we're not giving it the fervor, we're not giving it the fire that we did for unfortunately, for George Floyd when he was killed. And I think that, you know, the violence in the community needs the same response. I think the community needs to get involved. There's a lot of money being put out, and I can speak mainly for Philadelphia. There's a lot of money being given out, about $250 million on community gun violence. But yet the deaths continue to rise. People are not working together. I personally had to confront the mayor and the governor about the fact that they haven't really given all they could to the issue, but it's the community. The community has got to stand up and stand out. And until they do, you know, we're not going to get the respect or the concern that we should get from the people that we put in office, I believe.
Absolutely. Yeah, and this is, like I said, I feel you, and I used to always say, and I still believe, that all these issues are connected, and we need to all, like, and that's how the system wins, when they play like community violence is over here, police brutality is over here, homelessness, the lack of the poor education in our school system, just all this stuff where they divide us down the middle and then just play us, and then they use our pain for their gain. Meanwhile, they're getting so many dollars, so many, all this monetary, and they're not putting it where it's supposed to go at and helping the families. And it's just sad. Like, it's really disgusting. And it just gets to a point you just get like, and I don't want to ever get numbed or desensitized by it, but I really honestly think that is exactly what they're doing nowadays. They're trying to dehumanize us and, like, make it seem like this thing is natural and normal. This is not normal. It is not normal to see the things that we are seeing. It is not normal for our babies to interpret or grasp this or have to deal with this nonsense. And then they wonder why, like, so many teenagers are, in a sense, echoing what they see. All you hear about is gun violence, community violence, this, that, and the third. And then now they want to take matters in their own hand instead of, just loving on each other and just, agreeing to disagree. Little basic, simple arguments. A short thing as somebody stepped on my shoes or somebody looked at me wrong or somebody talking to the girl I like or the boy I like foolishness. Like, none of these issues warrant a death sentence. So all I can do, as a praying woman, and this is not West Coalition, this is strictly Tawanda Jones herself. All I can do is pray and do what I can humanly do possible by reaching out to families, just reaching out, doing whatever I can do, that's at my grasp, on my level, that I can do as a human being to uphold families, be there, and just fight this wicked system. It is very wicked, it's very evil, and, that's all I can pretty much say about it. And I wanted to check in real fast. Uncle Bill, I know you got me on the phone or whatever, but I was wondering, is Marcella sent you to read our questions and, thoughts that are online, if we have any? Mic check.
Mic check. He was here earlier. I believe he's still here.
Okay.
Mic check.
Mic check. Good evening, my brother. Good evening. Good to hear you. Good to have you here in Q. Thank you so much for joining us. Mic check.
Thank you. Mic check. Hillary says mic check. Bruce says good evening. Adina says mic check. Gigi says peace, y'all, and no worries, Tawanda. Judah says mic check. Judah says, Jamal, I've appreciated your posts on Instagram since you were last on West Wednesday. Thanks for all you do. Linda says happy to get on. Gigi says, wow, the reforms sitting on their desk, shame. Adina says, unfortunately, with maggots in charge of the House of Representatives, nothing will move through Congress. Hillary says, Jamal, your persistence is deserving of much respect. Thank you. Adina says cops get a slap on the wrist if they ever get charged at all. 99% of the time they aren't even charged. It's awful. Gigi says goodness. Adina says that is correct. Last year was the deadliest year. Gigi says a lot of folks are losing hope, unfortunately. We need to also talk about the world that is possible when we come together across class, gender, and race lines. Gigi says Philadelphia is saying they will end the 1033 program, but are still using the deadly exchange program. These things need to end. Divestment from our communities is a form of sanctions on the poor. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check. Yes, and thank you so much, Brother Marcellus, and thanks everybody for tuning in. Judith, Adina, Gigi, everybody. Brother Bruce, thank you guys for tuning in. And speaking of our brother Judas, I just want to let you guys know on April the 19th, we have a very special West Wednesday that will be in person, indoors, and I'll be sharing more about this event in the space that we will be sharing with our brother Judas. So I'm really excited about that. But back to our special guest. Yeah, so I just wanted to ask you, like, what made you start doing the work that you did, putting boots on the ground? Like, what inspired you and what led you to do all the wonderful, great things that you're doing?
Well, actually, I started in 2017 after the shooting of a young man named David Jones in the back by a police officer. He was killed. And so I wanted to bring some attention to that. Also, I had been watching over time what was happening with people like Trayvon Martin and Michael Brown, and I got involved with the protests out there. So, you know, and on the gun violence side of things, my granddaughter was shot coming from a funeral. So, you know, that motivated me on that end. So basically, you know, I just felt that I couldn't just sit and watch and complain like everybody else. I had to try to be a part of the solution.
That's awesome, and my condolences to you and your family about your granddaughter. That's like so heartbreaking, like to actually leave a funeral and to be murdered. Like, I'm just so sorry. And yeah, I'm just sorry, but then at the same time, grateful again for all the work that you're doing. And yeah, and
let me say, she was shot. She didn't die. I'm sorry, she was shot, but she didn't die.
Oh, okay. Oh, well, thank God she didn't die. But that is horrible that she was actually shot. So, but thank God she survived. God is so good. Thank you. I'm so glad that she survived. And I apologize because I can like hear you, but it's kind of like muffled because the way I'm connected to you right now. And I'm thankful for Uncle Bill making the connection. So yeah, I apologize that I heard you wrong. But yeah, thank goodness your grandbaby's okay. But that's still awful to be, you know, shot coming from anywhere, and to think that you're coming from a funeral when that happens, that's awful. So, like I said, I just commend your work and all that. So, yeah. And I wanted to know, so I know recently I asked you this question because normally, like when you come to Baltimore and join us, you normally, like I know it'd be warm outside, like it'd be like almost in the summer months and things like that. What kind of brought you this way? Could you tell anybody what brought you this way earlier? I mean, you know, this early and whatnot?
Yes, we normally do this in August to commemorate simultaneously the gathering in 1963 at the memorial in D.C. Normally at the 28th, and we normally we go and try to coincide with that. Also, that's the date that Emmett Till was murdered, and so we normally coordinated to be there on the 28th of August. This year, we moved it up because of the Tyree Nichols homicide by the Memphis police. And we felt that if we go there now, while it's still fresh in the minds of the nation and of our representatives, maybe they'll give us a little bit more respect in our efforts when we arrive.
Okay, definitely makes sense. Definitely, and definitely appreciate all the hard work and things like that. It's definitely not unnoticed. And I just wanted to mention to our West Lansing family and supporters, because last week we took a moment of silence at exactly 7 o'clock to pray for our brother Mumia, and he was supposed to be going up for, you know, three things could have happened. He could have either been released, or they could have kept that long sentence, or they could have awarded him a new trial and whatnot. So we were all praying. We did like a nationwide effort and standing in solidarity with different people around the world to pray that Mumia pretty much, you know, what happened, you know, through the process that he would actually be released, because for somebody to be incarcerated for 40 years and then made into an experiment is very heartbreaking, very disgusting on all type of levels. But the fact that when I'm checking in with my friend who was doing all the efforts and her hard work, when I checked in with the sister, it'd be like, what happened, so I could bring you guys like an update or whatnot. And pretty much this system is so disgusting that they're not saying anything. Like, everything is just quiet. That's very disrespectful. They're not saying, oh, well, we're not going to drop the charges. We're going to keep him with his life sentence. Oh, we're going to give him a new trial, or he's going to be released. They're not saying anything. And that is beyond disgusting. Like, but this shows you this system can do whatever it wants to do. And it's just sad. And that's the most important thing that my brother said on here tonight, is that we all, as human beings, no matter what your race, sex, religion, beliefs, or anything is, we all need to pull together on all these heartbreaking issues, and we need to stay on their necks, just like they were on my brother Tyrone neck. It was on George Floyd neck, Tyree neck. Like, we need to stay on their neck. Like, our lives matter. It may not matter to them, but when you kill one of us, regardless of this in the community or through police brutality, it's a heartbreaking and it's devastating. It's really hurtful and painful. You know, it's just sickening and sad. But again, I definitely agree. We need to pull together and stay together with these issues. And it's just sad that every time an uprising happens, that's when everybody pulls together, band together, and they can't take that. That's why they don't want to see it. You know, that's why they'll try to charge us with, exciting the riot, all type of foolishness, take our life away as if we murdered somebody. In the way that we saw, you know, our loved ones or our community friends and family members being murdered, and we stand up and say, no, we don't want another person killed, and then they'll charge us. But meanwhile, you know, Mr. Trump, he's just doing his thing, and it's just sickening. Like, really, like, they wouldn't charge him with exciting the riot when they took over. And he's still exciting violence and all of this type of stuff. And they're still just entertaining. I just feel like I told my sister yesterday, I feel like we're just stuck in the sick movies, living in the United Snakes of America. And that's what I call it, United Snakes, because it seems like all the snakes that rule this capitalist system and world are united, and we are dying at our bloodshed. It doesn't matter how they're murdering us. The fact that we are being murdered, the fact that we're being exploited every single day, the fact that you can leave somebody dead on the ground, uncovered or murdered, or a family member to say, hey, my elderly mom, my elderly grandmother, my elderly sister is, you know, missing right now. It looks like foul play, and you not up the ante and make sure you try to bring or solve or make sure she's okay. And then we find her body now in a container. How sickening is that? Like, it's just sad and disgusting and heartbreaking on all levels. And also, I wanted to add to the conversation, because when I was able to jump online before my new phone started acting crazy, like as if it got bugs in it. And I keep getting a message that 2 devices are attached to my device, and I'm trying to figure that out. But nevertheless, that's a whole other topic. But anyway, I saw like a few hours ago that there was a bad accident on 695. I haven't been home to see the news or anything. I'm just seeing a bunch of people sharing, check on your loved ones, and my heart goes out to anybody that was in that accident. Immediately when I heard that, I was like, oh my God, let me check on my children and call and check on my family members. And my heart was shaking because it took a long time for me to be able to dial a number. I couldn't even dial a phone number. So I'm sitting there like, let me just breathe and calm down. Like, it's just sad that this shouldn't be the reality, because in life, you have so much to live. You have so much to celebrate. And in these times, we find ourselves like literally, like our mind is blown with just trying to survive through a day, not even through a month, not even through a year, just 24 hours trying to survive and trying not to get a phone call you don't want to get. It's just so, it's like, it's sad that we are traumatized to that point that we can't even get comfort in the beautiful things that are going on in the world. Like, everybody deserves that peace of mind to know that, hey, my family and myself is going to be okay. Even if God forbid something happened to me, I always worry about my family and my friends. I always worry about them. I worry about them nonstop, to the point I try to turn, like, my memory, like, you know, the memories of bad things happening off and just think about good things, so that way I can embrace and just not worry so much. But it's just sad. Like, that's not life, worrying. That's not life. That's not life. Like, and I just want us to be able to enjoy life. And I think the biggest part is, like, just fighting for what's right, connecting on a positive level, and then not just fighting for what's right, but at the same time, taking time to breathe, taking time to grieve, and just all the stuff that life throws at you. Because it's unfortunate. It's like, if you're thrown into the ocean, even if you don't know how to swim, at that moment, you're forced to, hey, learn how to swim or you're going to drown. You know what I mean? So it's just as simple as that. And it's just saying, a lot of things in life we have to take, and we have no choice but to take it. And it's just saying, like, we can't say, you know what, I don't want this bad day to happen right now. We have to live and survive through it. And every time, like, I hear something going on, I start worrying. Like, one of my sisters, and I'm not going to put her name out there, she had car troubles today. And so I'm calling her to tell her, hey, sis, get on the prayer line. And she's pulled over, like, waiting for a tow truck. So now I'm like, oh, my God, what if, God forbid, another car, like, crashes into her? Oh, my goodness, what if a killer cop decides to pull up, act like a fool, know who she is, and then do something? Or what if somebody come and carjack her or whatever? Like, it's just like, oh, my God, that is not life. Like, I don't want to be like that. Like, it's just not life. It's not reality. But, yeah, so, but my brother, I want to ask you, is there anything else that you want to talk about? And what are your plans? Are you going to still come in Baltimore, even though the rally that we invested in you being a part of is not taking place tomorrow? But what is your plans in coming into Baltimore tomorrow?
We're going to arrive in Baltimore tomorrow. We'll be staying overnight in Baltimore tomorrow, maybe Friday also. But we'll continue to march forward towards D.C. at the same time. If anything is happening in Baltimore, addressing these issues, needless to say, you know, after we march, we'll be a part of that also on our way out. Anybody that may want to join us tomorrow, we'll be leaving tomorrow about noon from 8801 Pulaski Highway in Rosedale. But I'll be posting that on my page, and we'll march into Baltimore from there. And then, like us, the next day, we'll go ahead and head on back down the highway towards D.C.
Okay. Awesome. And I just want you to be safe out there, and definitely respect all the work, everything, the prayer dedication, the prayer love, all your strength. Just like, I just want you to reserve that and just know that, you know, you're loved, you're thought about it. Yeah, just keep up the good work. And yeah, and I'm just praying that, you know, your march is not in vain. I'm praying that the West Coalition fight and my family fight, you know, to get accountability, not just for my victims of Tyrone West, but all the victims of police brutality. I'm praying that it's not in vain. That's the only thing, like, you can do is you can put the work in, and you have to just let nature take its course in the aspect to see what happens. Like, we don't know what's going to happen. You can hope for the best, but look for the worst. And it's just sad that, you know, you got to sometimes train your mind. So I'm just praying for the best. I'm looking for the best. I'm not even going to think about the worst. Sometimes that negativity can, you know, steal your joy, steal your seeds, all that. So I'm just into planting seeds and just watching them harvest and grow into something beautiful. Now that spring has sprung, I'm just into looking for a beautiful harvest. Like, so whatever you guys are doing out here in this world of being great, no matter what it is, no matter if nobody tells you or not, just know that what you're doing, your efforts are not in vain. Just know that. Just know that. Like, it may seem like it's nothing, but just like that little seed, that tiny little seed that looks like absolutely nothing, you put that in the ground, you put the right amount of soil into it and all that good stuff, and you get the sunlight and you get some water and all that good stuff, and it blossoms and blooms into something very beautiful. And then once you turn back and you look, you're like, wait a minute, this little that grew out like that. So yeah, you reap what you sow. So I'm just hoping that everybody's out there, you know, doing good things, sowing good seeds, and just treating people like you want to be treated. That's the key to life. That's the golden rule. I teach my students that every day. I teach my children. I live by the golden rule. Treat people the way you want to be treated. It's an easy return test. You don't have to be religious to do that. You don't have to do anything. Just be a human and just believe, if I don't want to be treated in such disrespect, why would I show disrespect or rudeness? If I want to be loved, let's show some love. You know what I mean? So, and it's just saying, like, the world we live in, but we can't let the negativity outweigh the good stuff. You know, and I just went through an experiment where I went inside of my daughter's gym and I spoke to two ladies. I spoke to one lady and she kind of frowned her face up at me, turned her nose, and I know my voice sometimes is real small because they joke me at work because they're like, you sound like a little cat. But I tried to speak up as loud as I could. The only time my voice projects is when I'm upset. So when I'm upset, I sound like a lion. But when I'm not upset, it's like really low and things of that nature. But I made sure that I spoke real loud. I was like, hey, ladies, how you doing? One of them looked at me, frowned, and kind of rolled the eyes. And the other was like, hey, how you doing? And I was like, okay. And I was ready to be like feeling uncomfortable. I'm like, what? But I'm like, no, that's a whole perfect sign. You cannot let evilness win, because at the end of the day, there's always good and there's always bad, but we gotta let the good outweigh the bad. And I'm just here to say that I love you guys, and also I wanted to share with everybody on the West Coalition family before we check in to see if there's any more questions or comments to come down. Normally, this will be the time that we would actually share and read from the sad list of Baltimore community violence from a database that we're like not really totally sure of. I think it's like from the Sun, and it literally is kind of accurate in a sense, but sometimes it don't keep up. Like if somebody just got killed today, their name wouldn't be on the list type of thing. And then the police brutality list only shows when there's gun violence, but we know that every victim does not die from gun violence. My brother Tyrone, he didn't die from gun violence. I'm sorry. Freddie Gray, Tyree Nichols didn't die from gun violence, right? So you have different victims that are just murdered, and they don't die just from a gun being lodged. And it's like the young man that I spoke about earlier, he was tasered to death. Well, he was shot down because she tried to act like her she didn't know her taser from her gun. But a lot of people, when I think about analysis, a nephew that was tasered to death. I think about Antoine Black that was tasered to death. So the list goes on. But my whole point is, a victim is a victim. And we, as the West Coalition, we decided that we don't want to put more hurt on families or whatever. And I know it's very great to uplift names, but at the same time, you know, hearing a name might could be traumatizing, right? And not hearing a name can also wear the same way. If you're listening to a list and you're like, wait a minute, my loved one was killed 2 weeks ago in wherever around the world or whatever, y'all ain't say their name, and you can really feel, you know, messed up, you know, and we don't want to put any hurt or harm on anybody. But right now, for the next 2 minutes, guys, instead of us reading a list and then a list, like I said, one of the police brutality lists doesn't even show you all of the victims. And then we also too know that every victim that encounters police and becomes a victim, they're not murdered. Everybody is not murdered, and even people that get gunned down in Baltimore, they survive too, or get beat or stabbed, they survive too. So a victim is a victim. So right now, what we're gonna do is uplift all the victims, whether they passed away, whether they're still here. A victim is a victim, and our heart goes out, and the space goes out.
Something wrong with the light, apparently.
We love you, and if you know anybody that's traumatized through anything, and they want us to support them in any which way that we can, please tag them onto this. Please let them know this is a venue that can be useful for them, and that we'll support them. Please let them know who walks to fight for rights. He will support them as well. We all are a support system. So use us in whatever way you can. But right now, we're going to take 2 minutes, guys. It is 7:59. We're going to come back at 8:01, and then we're going to check in and we're going to check out. So let's take 2 minutes. If you pray, say a prayer. If not, that's fine. Just send positive energy this way and acknowledge this is for all the victims of police brutality, community violence, anything that you're going through. We giving this moment to you. We giving these 2 minutes to you. My child.
No. So I don't know. Really? She's here, right? Will you? No, she is. She came in. You think you saw her come in? Yeah. She was there. She was with me. Like when I let them go first with them. But I'll look for her. I'm going to shut this overhead one off. Okay. If you need, you can use the backlight there. I find it's in my eyes too much. She wants to look. She's giving you like little guns. What do you do when you go for home? Huh? What do you do for home? Who called me? I'm here. Lady. What did you say? It's all about me.
Mike Chen, thank you guys so much for your time, for your prayers, if you were praying, for your thoughts, for your positivity. Thank you guys so much. And I just wanted to thank you guys. And again, we will keep you guys in thought. And again, if anybody knows that somebody that's affected by police brutality, community violence, or just need a peace of mind, please send them our way. Please do that. And right now, I want to check in with our brother Marcellus to see if we have any closing comments or questions. Mic check.
Mic check.
Is Marcella still on?
I don't know. Perhaps Ben can tell.
Yes, Marcellus is still here.
Ben, is Marcella still on?
Yes, Marcellus is still here.
He may have stepped away from the computer for a moment.
Okay. Well, I'm not going to hold anybody up. But again, I just want to thank our brother for doing everything that he does. And again, brother, can you share the information before we wrap up on how, just in case somebody tuned in kind of late, how we can support you in your efforts and where you will be at tomorrow? Mic check.
Mic check.
Yes. Again, we'll be down at 8801 Pulaski Highway in Rosedale We'll be leaving there tomorrow at noon, heading up towards Baltimore. Everything will be posted on my Facebook page, Jamal Johnson, SKU, which stands for Stop Killing Us. And everyone's welcome to join us. We don't go too fast. We go as slow as the slowest person. Additionally, everything that I do is from me. I'm not sponsored. I'm not a nonprofit organization. So any assistance we can get monetarily is greatly appreciated for our food, gas, stays at hotel, things like that. And I have a Cash App, which is $ N as in Nancy, E as in Edward, V as in Victor, R as in Robert, G as in Golf, O as in Oscar, B as in Boy, A as in Alpha, C as in Charlie, K as in Kilo. That's $ never go back with one E. And anything is appreciated, while we're out there doing what we do. And I appreciate you, Tawanda. I appreciate the West Coalition. And maybe next time we come through, we can all get together and do an action together to address both of these issues.
Awesome. I definitely appreciate you and sending love and light your way. So you guys know how we can support our brother. Please do if you can. We definitely giving you thanks in advance. And thank you guys for tuning in. In the same way, unfortunately, we bored you with our video. We're going to close out right now. But again, thank you guys so much. Thank you, Uncle Bill, for putting me on, because I was like, oh my goodness, I was freaking out. Like, I'm not going to be able to join. But like you said, Uncle Bill, when there's a will, there's a way. If you can figure out the solution, that kind of ends that problem. So thank you for that. And remember, guys, live to love to live. I love you all. Mic check.
Mic check.
Mic check.
And Mr. West begging for his life, and Mr. SALAAM begging for his child to be excluded and comforted from what was taking place. Not for himself, but for his 3-year-old child.
Case number 4, ADIENA BRITT and family, September 10th, 2015.
My name is ADIENA BRITT, and I wanted to submit a 30-second testimonial that Jorge Omar Bernardez Ruiz is one of the 11 terrorists that came into my house performing a home invasion in September 2015, terrorizing my entire family and even holding my 12-year-old son at gunpoint. He needs to be stopped.
Case number 5, unidentified arrestee, assaulted in 2016.
I suggest you back the fuck up. No, why you
Again, this video did not surface until the summer of 2020. Case 6, Thomas McCullough, May 2016 and February 2017.
I heard my front door coming off the hinges, like it exploded.
Thomas McCullough says it happened twice. In May 2016 and February 2017, Baltimore City Police burst through his green front door and raided his Pimlico home.
They said, police. They come up, shotguns, guns.
He says officers ransacked the place, looking for drugs, money, and weapons. He took pictures of the damage he says they left behind.
Tell us where the drugs are, the scales, the guns, and the large amounts of money.
Nothing was found. Now he's suing police, claiming officers, including a former member of the gun trace task force, frightened him, his wife, and father-in-law when the officers conducted what his suit calls an illegal search of his home. The owner of the house tells 11 News after the second raid, he had to replace the front door. McCullough and his attorney say they want Baltimore police held accountable.
There is a colossal breach of trust.
And McCullough tells us following both raids, no one was arrested or charged.
This all begs the question, when will Baltimore City State's Attorney Marilyn Mosby see the prosecution of Bernardez Ruiz as warranted?
They were the stopping officers in these so-called jump-out cars, unmarked and so forth, that stopped both the West vehicle and the SALAAM vehicle without probable cause. And these officers are the ones that also were joined by others, but they are the ones who initiated the stops, pulled both men out of the vehicles, and commenced the vicious activity that was thrust upon them.
And the officer Ruiz that started this attack is still working and working with promotions. He is now sergeant. But the fact that this repeat violent offender had a history leading up to my brother. There was Darrell Harris, there was James Green, Joseph Green, ABDUL SALAAM, and my sister ADIENA and her family. No one family deserves to be brutally murdered or brutalized by this repeat violent offender Ruiz. It is time we take action. The time is now.
Baltimore police officer Jorge Bernardez Ruiz is a repeat violent offender. Based on these accounts, in accordance with the law, we, the West Coalition, call for him to be fired, prosecuted, and incarcerated.
We're more than hashtags and body bags. We're more than being 6 feet in the dirt and pictures and buttons on t-shirts. Our lives matter.
For the safety of our city, the prevention of further harm, and the justice for these families, we see no other option.
And again, I'll say, the time is now.